Vector addition. In this episode, let's talk about how to add vectors. So let's start with the general method of adding vectors. It's called as the tip to tail method. So you know that a vector is always represented by a directed line segment. So the arrowhead represents the tip of the vector and the other end represents the tail of the vector. So in the tip to tail method, it says that if you want to add two vectors, you have to arrange them tip to tail. So let's say I have a vector pointing in the east direction. Let's label it vector A. Then I have another vector pointing, say, roughly in the northeast direction. Let's label it vector B. So if I want to add these two vectors, I have to draw them such that they are arranged tip to tail. And the resultant will then be drawn by the vector representing from the tail of the first to the tip of the last. So this vector represents the sum of A vector and B vector. So if you were drawing this diagram to scale, measuring the lengths and relating it to the magnitudes exactly and measuring correctly the angle of the given vector B, then you can directly measure the length of the resultant, which will give you the magnitude, and you can measure this angle, which will give you the direction relative to vector A. So this is called as a graphical method, where you actually draw vectors to scale using a ruler and a protractor. But that would be tedious. So we can also use the geometry of triangles to figure out the magnitude and direction of the resultant. So let's see how to do that. So we are going to consider case by case.